I worked for Games Workshop for 15 years in the Games Workshop Dublin store here in Ireland. I managed it for nearly a decade. And one of the coolest things that used to happen quite a lot while I was working there was that you would get phone calls from usually older women, and they would be, basically my son or daughter used to collect this thing 20, 30 years ago, whatever. They've moved on, they have kids and homes of their own. I'm clearing out the attic. I found some of their old stuff. Can I drop it into the shop? Oh, yes, of course you can drop in old cool Warhammer to the shop. Yes, please. As soon as possible, please. And most of the time it was utter trash, just crap. Not worth the time and the effort to throw away, which was unfortunate. But every now and again, there was some gems that did get dropped into the store. And on one of my very last days of working there, before I decided to take this colossal leap to full-time content creator slash YouTuber man, painting his little war dollies, a woman came in. She hadn't even called pre-hand, and she had a whole box, a whole stack of cool box sets. And one of them was this, which was where I started in Warhammer. This is the 3rd edition starter box set. I may have taken a gander inside of it when it arrived that day, but I was so caught up in getting everything packed up from the store and getting myself sorted and stuff that I didn't really have the mindset. But I knew I wanted the box to put in like a background display, and so this box set itself means more to me than any other starter set because it's literally the first box of Warhammer that I ever bought. And I thought it would be really fun to go through in this video and crack it open together and have a nosy inside and see what kind of treasures exist inside of this box set. And then perhaps you guys can suggest down in the comments below if there's any particular models inside this that you would like to see me make a video on, and then I can do that, which I think will be just a fun kind of collaborative project between me and you. So that's what we're gonna do in today's video. Before I get in though, I just want to make sure that you guys continue to support me by watching, liking, commenting, and making sure that you are subscribed. Those things cost you nothing. They make a huge difference how many people see these videos and how quickly the channel grows. And of course, check out Patreon, link down below. It's a million different reasons to be involved in Patreon, but my favorite one is I get to give back a little bit. So I do giveaways every single month for every member of my Patreon. So if you are a member of the Patreon at any tier, you're in with a chance to win awesome sets. This month, I am giving away this. So if you want to be in with a chance of starting a 1,000 Suns army or increasing a 1,000 Suns army you've already started, this box set will be given to one lucky patron winner at the end of this month. So please do check that out and get involved. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in and have a look at this set. Okay, what do we think? Do we think it's going to be full of junk or full of treasure? I'm kind of nervous. I haven't looked inside of this, and like I said, maybe the day I got it, I did it, but it was the box set that excited me. Let's see what's inside the box. Well, I already knew that there was stuff inside the box because I feel the weight of it, but yeah, a really fun starting thing. I remember these. These were the quick reference sheets for your 3rd edition games. So this is all you needed to play the game. So if you're playing with your friends and colleagues or whatever, each of you would get one of these cards after you read your rulebook, and it kept everything. You know, you move, you shoot, and it literally shows you how to shoot. Choose target, check targets in range, roll to hit, roll to wound. Target takes saving throws, remove casualties, and all of that is inside of this little box. How you move. Vehicles, move 6 inches. Cavalry, 6 inches. They can assault 12. Vehicles move 12 inches, cannot assault. Fast vehicles, 24 inches. Forgot they moved that fast back then. Walker 6, bikes 12, jump packs 12. It's very, very cool to see all this kind of stuff. But you don't care about paper. Let's see what else is in the box. Okay. We have some sprues. These are the old tree sprues. Let's try and put these together. Trees. I don't think there's even enough to make a single tree here, but kind of funny to see these old tree sets. The colored plastics. Yeah, for the old, I don't know why they gave them old tropical trees. What else have we got going on in here? There's definitely some miniatures in the bottom. So these are sprues from the actual 3rd edition box set. These are the leftover remnants of the old version of the Dark Eldar warriors. These are the remaining sprues for the Space Marine, I guess. So Dark Eldar. There's a whole Dark Eldar there, look. There's your legs, your torso, arm, head. And this one's, there's another one, that's 2. You can make another one with these 2 because he's got his legs here and the torso here. There's 3 Dark Eldar warriors here. It's kind of cool. Those models were disgusting back in the day, and they're still pretty much disgusting now. But I wonder if you spent some time and effort and gave some like new kind of fangled love to these models with all the new kind of tools and equipment you have, could you make them look really nice? I have my doubts. What else have we got going on? We have a blast marker, large blast template, no small blast template or flamer, but that's okay. We will. Okay, now we get on to the meat and potatoes of this. Sprues left over from old land speeders. Let's get rid of the old bits of red foam. Okay, what the hell am I looking at? It's really hard for your brain to like break apart all the different models and stuff. What the hell is this? You know, this actually rings a bell from a toy I might have had as a kid. Does anybody recognize this from a toy? I feel like it was like from Gargoyles or something. This is ringing a weird bell, like from something I had. Weird side quest. If anybody knows what this is off, please do let me know in the comments below. Okay, so it looks like we have space orcs. We have some dark Eldar in there, do we? I see heads. I don't really see some very wrecked up bodies and stuff. Not full models. So my brain is trying to... Oh, look at the original Hero Quest troll ogre man. Fortunately, his back isn't there, is it? Aww. No back for you. No, it's a shame. That would have been a really cool and fun thing to build and paint as for... Not that it'll focus on that at all. Great. Focus! These are the old Hero Quest / Warhammer Quest ogres. They're quite rare and quite expensive these days. That would have been nice to have as a complete thing. So that's a bit of a shame, but we shall move on. What else? There's more Hero Quest guys in here. Look, there's some of the old orcs. There's a Zote. Is there any other Hero Quest guys? Or was it just a random couple of guys thrown in? Looks like just a random couple of guys thrown in. What a bizarre box. Okay, let's put them to one side. We do have Space Marines galore. Look at these old school Space Marines. Look how beautiful they are. They've got to definitely have a charm all to themselves. I know we had our RTBO ones, but RTBO ones are like, obviously they're the first generation of plastic Space Marines, so everyone has a soft spot in their heart for RTBO ones, but they're really ugly models. Like, I would love to have a full box of them and to build and paint them, don't get me wrong, for my collection, but I don't think they're pretty models. Whereas even this very basic, very old Space Marine is just so cool. That's awesome. How many of these guys is there? 1, 2. There's an old plastic sergeant. What are you? You're not from this set. What are you? You're an old original plastic Space Marine scout, not scout, sergeant. Power axe and chainsaw that looks like a fishing rod. Does anyone know what this is? I don't really recognize the model. Has it been converted? What am I looking at? See, this is a sergeant that I recognize. That's a Space Marine sergeant. What the hell is the other guy? Space Marines, Space Marines, Space Marines, Space Marines. There's lots of Space Marines, lots of orcs. You know what? I'm going to break all this apart and put them in there like squads and like organize like what we have, and then come back and show you guys what we have. It's really kind of odd going back through a box like this, because obviously this was some kid's pride and joy, you know, the thing that he worked on, his hobby. He obviously spent a lot of time and love on it. And it's kind of weird to see like different decisions that he decided to make or different kits that he decided to collect, you know, during his tenure in the hobby. I wonder where this guy is now. I wonder, is he still involved in the hobby at all? I wonder, does he still have fond memories of these kits and these models and doing these things? It's all just kind of a weird retrospective. So anyway, at the beginnings, we have some Space Marines. So some of these guys are of different generations. So these are kind of like the 2nd and 3rd edition style, but he does have some of the more modern-esque ones. So these particular set of Space Marines, which it won't focus at all because there's so much stuff in the background. There you go. These particular Space Marines were still sold up until about 10 years ago. So they're relatively new. If you had a box of these guys in your pile of potential or shame or whatever you want to call it, you could still put them together and get them painted fairly nicely and use them in a game today and no one would bat an eyelid. They were still kind of very cool models. There's a weird number. There's 8 of them. I don't know where the other 2 have gone. And then there's, like I said, the random assortment of the ones from the box set. Maybe 10 of these guys belong to this set. They seem to have old school Dark Angels transfers. Really old school Dark Angels transfers. And they're mostly green. So he decided to go for green Dark Angels for the box set. Very cool. Everybody likes Dark Angels. There's another clue for Dark Angels with the coolest thing that I found in the box set that we'll talk about at the end. And then he decided to go for some Ultramarines. And then obviously he decided to go for a random pack of 4 Eldar Guardians. I think these are the nicest thing that he painted in the box set. There's 4 of these guys up to this standard. I think they look awesome. I think if you had an entire army of these guys back in kind of 3rd edition and the whole army was painted like this, it would be a striking force on the tabletop and it would have looked really cool. So really like that. Like I said, he did have some Dark Eldar bits and pieces. He obviously wasn't very enamored with the Dark Eldar in the box set. I must admit, when I got that box set as a kid, the Space Marines are what excited me. The Dark Eldar really didn't do it for me, and even looking at them now, they're just terrible models. They're awful. So he didn't even put any paint on them. He never really finished building them. He didn't really care about them. So that kind of says all that needs to be said. We've got a couple of the, obviously, the Hero Quest models we talked about in the background. A pile of slightly more modern orc. He got a handful of these guys as well, which I don't know where he got them or why he decided to get them. Maybe he got this guy scratching his butt as a joke and he had a good giggle over that and showed his friends, which I find quite funny. But yeah, so that was the kind of Space Marine side of it. I would consider most of this, except these guys, to be fairly kind of worthless. There's not really a lot anyone can do with them. Someone have to put a lot of time and effort into stripping these guys and trying to get them, like a lot of them are built kind of poorly. Sagging shoulders and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if it'd be worth the time and effort. Over here, however, there is a sizable portion of space orcs, a really irritating number of Gretchen, which is 39. If I had one more Gretchen, there'd be 2 blobs of 20 space orc Gretchen, which would have been amazing. And he has 15, 16, 17, 18 orcs, all monopose, so there's nothing that he could do to build them incorrectly. They're all built absolutely perfectly. There isn't even any like flash. I think he spent a lot of time. This might have been the most modern thing, or the thing he decided, I want to do an army of these guys. So he started to collect and build them and get them together. I've always wanted a classic space orc army, and I never really had any bits and pieces. So this is actually a really big kind of important find for me. I'm really happy with this, and it's something that I would love to paint up in really bright, vibrant, obnoxious colors and play against a good friend of mine who was doing a 2nd edition Blood Angels army. And we could have some old school games on a board that looks something like this with some old school terrain and just have a bit of a giggle and a bit of fun and stuff like that. So very happy with this. Now on to the piece de resistance. Some of you may have spotted it in the box itself when I did the kind of first view, but for those who didn't, I'm just going to move the camera a little bit more here. Sorry for shaky camera and all that stuff. Tilt this up to about here. And then I'm going to bring into view this. So this is a lead, full metal lead dreadnought on a square base, because round bases, 60mm round bases did not exist back then. It weighs an absolute ton. Clearly, this was the pride of this guy's collection. He spent so much time building and painting it. Obviously, even just building this thing is absolutely no joke. And obviously, he did all the work. All the kind of metallics are broken down. He decided to go for white armor as he's doing it for his Dark Angels army. He has a paper Dark Angels banner, which is still somehow survived all this time. He's got his first company markings, Dark Angel symbols on his knee pads. Stomping on a dead orc. He went to the trouble of making a dead orc for the base for that dreadnought to be stomping his way through. He never got a chance to paint the arms, which is unfortunate. Obviously he painted the torso and then he glued the arms on with the intention of painting and never did. The banner is hanging on for dear life. I don't know how many of these classic dreadnought banner poles still exist in the wild. How many of these are in good enough condition? But this thing is amazing. Like, I'm so enamored. I think this is the coolest thing. I would love to strip it all down, repaint it up in like really classic colors, even attempt to rescue and save the original banner. I mean, I'd say it's probably possible using PVA glue and like bend it back onto the banner pole and touch it up with some paint and varnish it and stuff to keep it safe, perhaps. How cool is that? Like, I wish I could do that and then give it back to that kid who's now obviously not a kid anymore. But I wonder, does he ever still think about his metal dreadnought that he used to have as a kid? You know, that he probably had a name for, and he probably stomped around in games with his friends and showed to other people with a lot of pride. So I think this is amazing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that this is, you know, trash, or do you think this is gold? What's your favorite thing out of the box set? And what do you guys think I should do with it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.